Hey, what's up, squad? This is Nickel Platinum, trying to give you a little quick guide on how to accomplish those hard get-theirs in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 Remastered. So, my apologies, I actually did the warehouse gap kind of organically and didn't have it on footage, so it's not in this video, but I can put it in another one if you would like. Here at school, you gotta hit that dumpster gap. This first bit is pretty simple, very straightforward, but that last little grind will end your combo if you hit the ground. I turn right by the picnic bench to hit the two planter gaps and utilize this quarter pipe to get myself a straight angle at that ledge. And ledge to rail is a gap, and the final gap is over here on the kicker. You can grind this last bit if you like. Doesn't matter either way. Here at the mall, this was very nostalgic. I actually really enjoyed doing this challenge. There's a lot of manual, and you really need to favor the manual on this. So make sure that you can grind wherever you can. That escalator gap, you cannot hit the kicker. You won't make it far enough. Over here, do not wall ride. You'll hit the ground and get sketchy or lose speed or fall. I go as straight as I possibly can. That's the toughest part of the manual right there. Hit that grind, gives you some speed, little comfort zone. Pop over that little lip, then hit the wall ride nice and far so you can get all the way down to the bottom. Mine was over exaggerated. You don't have to go that far, but if you jump too soon, you'll hit a wall and it won't work. So here in Chicago, the most annoying part is probably this first gap. After you get that, it's relatively straightforward. I use this quarter pipe again for speed and a straight angle at that box pop gap. I gotta hit a little bit of that rail to at least catch the corner of the junior gap. Not a lot of grinding, so you don't really have to jump or boost. And on this transfer, make sure to delay the transfer button while you're in the air to make sure you land safely, and it'll grab you and make the gap happen. Here we are, I'm playing chicken with the cabs. If I were you, I would recommend giving a little more space between the cabs. Where I am right now, it's going to cross paths with me right at the finish. So here we are, taking the grass route, nice and comfy. Getting that rail to get the speed, because this kicker gap is nice and easy in the first one. Use the second one to get speed to allow you to get all the way up to the top and have to land in a manual, I believe, to make that count. Here at the downhill jam, we have one of the trickier starting points where you have to hit that far corner to get that original grind gap. The second one, not so finicky. You follow it all the way to the end and it's all good. I would recommend doing some practice rounds with this manual gap right here. While I was in the air, I pressed forward almost the whole time to balance myself out so I could still land in a manual without any problems. Didn't change my stats. It was all good. This one, I changed my stats, my speed down to 50%. Make sure you start off nice and straight over that roll-in, so when you come back off the lip you can hit that roll-in gap no problem. Now this is where the slow speed comes in handy to make these really easy transition. It didn't take me that long at all, so I think all you'd be totally fine. Here we are in streets. This is probably one of the cooler looking ones, I think. It's fun. It shows you a lot of the maps, some stuff that you might not have known. There's this cool little door that opens up, allow you to get right down this entire rail. A lot of grinding going on, so I tried to minimize the grinding, jumping off a little early, getting a straight shot going through so you don't have to balance so much. Just little taps back and forth for the manual, as well as making sure there's no trolley or van to finish up. And it's easy peasy. To finish off Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1, we have Roswell, probably one of my favorite levels in the whole game. Big deck gap right off the front, so you need that huge wall plant transferred in. I nose manual this just because it's easier for me to turn, but it doesn't matter either way. The rest of this line is pretty straightforward. Just make sure you have enough speed to make that final roll-in gap, and there you have it. The toughest part's that first gap, for sure. So here we are at the second game, or the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 in the remastered edition. In the hangar, you can jump out either side of the half pipe. It doesn't matter. Personal preference is fine. Make sure you get this corner, and that's it. You know, it's pretty straightforward. I did an extra manual just out of habit, but you don't have to do any of that. Here's where you're going to want your hand towel, because your palms will be sweating. There are a few different lines that I've seen do this. Some of them are a little zigzaggy. I find this one to be as smooth and comfortable. A lot of manual and a lot of grinds. The grinds are a necessity, so I tried to maximize the manualing if I could. Got to get that basketball hoop down early so it's all set for your combo. You can go over this, or like myself, I landed on it, did a nose grind to make sure that I made it onto that gap, but you don't need that gap. Here's a wall ride to again extend a bunch of space where I don't need to balance for anything. And there you have it. So here at Marseille, or Marcellus, I'm not sure how you say it, but it doesn't matter. Watch the launch angle on this. As soon as you get this launch angle, the rest of it is easy peasy. Oh, yeah. So you get that, you come around here, and the next little tricky part is the rail to rail. They're very close, but just far enough. So you got to do a little delayed ollie, and then no ollie at the end of it to maintain speed. Do not grind when going over the box, and the game wants you to pop up over that dumpster, so it'll get you. Here in New York, the cabs can definitely come into play if you don't necessarily do this spiral line. I like this spiral line a lot because you stay on the inside almost the whole time, and you really don't ever have to come in contact with the multiple of cabs that are out there cruising around. A little bit of manual there. You want to keep the speed nice and low because those two gaps you can definitely fly over if you're going too fast. Here I jumped a couple times just because the grinding was getting a little wonky and I wanted to make sure that I had enough grind to get this bit. As soon as you touch that last bit, it triggers, so you're good to go. Here at Venice, I came back to this one. It was a little frustrating. This first gap is very far. You almost have to trick the game. You need full stats, full special, and you got a boneless. Make sure that while you're in the air, you give a little delay before you hit the transfer button to almost allow the game to get you far enough to grab you over to that transfer. And then on the last manual, just pop up early to make sure the manual counts. Here at Skate Street, not my cleanest gap right there. I normally go to the left. It's a lot smoother. Gotta hit that grind on that box. Any of those grinds would be fine to maintain the speed. Jump a little early here and make sure that you hit a downslope when you go into the bowl, or else you will lose all your speed and not make the next jump up onto the extension. It kicks you off, but I did a delayed ollie to land safe. Here's probably one of the easier ways of getting up onto the roof here in Philly. Now, after on the roof, you're going to have a lot of grinding. So I just go very minimal grind on that fence. Try to pop once and get some speed up, cut the corner a little bit. You have to hit the parallel lines on this box going up and over to make that gap count. You only need one bench gap, so I go right to the end. Nose manual so I can turn really fast and pop right back up, and then just grind this all the way to the finish for a complete combo. To get onto the high wire, I have seen people jump the bench gap one earlier and then take a hard right turn to then get on. Whatever works well for you is fine. This one, again, the opening gap can be very tricky. So if you cut the corner like I just did, you can go long or short and still make the gap. I use this perpendicular quarter pipe, so when I come out, I have no angles to deal with. Utilize all these grinds, basic grinds all the way around to maintain speed. Be in a manual, not nose manual, for that quarter pipe jump early, R2 and triangle, or transfer and grind. Make sure it grabs you up there to a quick wall plant. Grind again, plenty of speed, and you can nose manual or manual to make that final up into the stands gap. And this last one in Skate Heaven was a lot of fun, to be honest, and just knowing this will give you a ton of enjoyment in the game. But it is tricky, and they are curved rails, so pay attention to the timing. I hope you enjoyed this quick little run-through. Thanks for watching.